So let's talk about your hometown. So could you describe your hometown for me, please?
My hometown is Suwon. Since I was four years old, I lived in Suwon until 20 years old. So the city is pretty lively and a lot of options and food in there. So it's very nice city in Korea.
And is there anything you dislike about your hometown?
Yeah, I think definitely population. Is when I watch the soccer game in the stadium, is too crowded sometimes. Like such a big game, so I don't like a lot of population.
All right. And what do you do in your free time?
I usually watch soccer game in YouTube because my favorite sport is soccer. So I like to watch soccer game.
All right. Now we're going to talk about mobile phones. So what was your first mobile phone?
My first mobile phone was, I think the name is Take. When I was 13 years old, my mom gave me that phone. I think the phone was not good, but I usually used that at the time.
Okay. And nowadays, do you use your phone more for texting or calling?
These days, everybody use KakaoTalk, so I also use KakaoTalk application.
And why do you prefer texting?
It's more comfortable to use. It's very easy to talk with others.
And do you have any plan to buy a new mobile phone?
Yeah, I will. Maybe 4 months later, I will buy iPhone.
Okay. And how has your mobile phone changed your life?
I think a lot. Maybe I guess 5 times, maybe.
Yeah, so because of your mobile phone, your life is very different, do you think? Because of your mobile phone, is your life more convenient or easier?
Yes. I think mobile phone used again and again. If his phone is old, so I will buy new one.
All right. Now let's talk about finding and losing lost items. So what would you do if you found something lost by someone else?
Maybe if I find something of someone else, I will give to that thing to police officer. Yeah. So if someone lost something, it's more easier to find that one. Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever lost anything?
Yeah, maybe a few weeks ago I lost my phone charger in the bus. But I cannot find it.
Okay. All right, that'll do us for part 1. Now let's move on to the second part of the test. Okay, so here is your part 2 question, and there's a pencil. So you can take 1 minute now to do some note taking. So yeah, you can begin. All right, Kangmin, that's 1 minute. Let's go on to your question. Okay, so for the part 2 question, could you describe a time you went on a long walk?
Maybe 5 months ago, I work with my high school friends, Sung Yong. I talk a lot about our future during this long work. We worked in Gwangyo River Lake, river park. So that time, we are very feel good about to talk about our future. So I asked him what you gonna do in the future, and he asked me what you gonna do in the future. So it is very think a lot at the time, at the moment. Yeah. And it's quite hard to work in there, but it's very meaningful time for me and him. So
Okay, that's about 1 minute and 40 seconds now. Okay, so yeah, in the real exam, you have a maximum of 2 minutes. Yeah, maximum time. All right. Okay, so do you often walk with this friend?
yeah, sometimes, but we don't work usually. Just talk in the some places, cafe or something.
Nice one. All right, so that'll do us for part 2. So we'll go on to the third part of the test now. All right. So yeah, let's keep going. Just gonna check the time. Okay. All right. So part 3, is leisure time important to everyone?
Leisure. I think yes. These days, a lot of people usually to enjoy leisure sports. So I think, for example, for me, I like leisure sports to like to skiing something. So in winter, I usually go to ski park with my friends or family. So it's important, I think.
And do you think, in general, people in your country have enough free time these days?
I don't think so, because these days, still in the country, to work a lot of time, most of people. So, for example, my father work a lot of times in the weekdays. So, yeah, I don't think so.
And what can governments do to ensure that their citizens have enough leisure time?
I think government should make about the rule about this topic. So yeah, make the rule. They should make the rule.
Yeah. And do you think, is it government's responsibility to make people more active, or is it an individual's responsibility?
I think it's half and half. I think government should make the rule. At the same time, individual person can make their own free time, I think.
And compared to the past, do you think nowadays people do more exercise or less exercise?
I think definitely more exercise these days, because still they don't have enough free time, but compared to past, I think they have more free time. So I think they exercise a lot these days compared to past.
Okay. And in terms of outdoor activities, what outdoor activities are popular in your country?
I think hiking or playing soccer or basketball. Young people usually like playing soccer or basketball in their school, but old people usually like to hike, climb the mountain. So yeah, that's the most popular sports.
And do you think young people also like to go hiking?
Yes, some of them like hiking, but I don't like the hike.
Why not?
It's too hard. It's tired. When I was young, my father go to hiking with me, but I don't like to at the time.
Right, that'll do us for the test, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's start, give you some feedback about your speaking. So to estimate your score, estimate would be about 4.5, I would say today. To go through I'll just go through a few errors that you made, and I'll just point them out to you. And then afterwards, I will give you the paper with more, but I just want to pick out maybe 5 or 6 different errors, okay? At the beginning, when I asked you about your hometown, and you said Suwon, you lived there from 4 years old to 20.
Yeah.
Yep. Just at the beginning, you used the word since. Okay, so you only use the word since with present perfect tense. So I've lived there since I was 4, but you've lived there from 4 to 20. So just use the past simple. Yeah. I lived in Suwon from age 4 to 20. Yeah, like that. And one time we said as well with regarding preposition, you said in there. So when you're naming the city, you can use in. So I lived in Suwon, that's perfect. But I lived in there is not correct. Just I lived there. Yeah. Because there is an adverb. So with adverb, we don't want to use any preposition. Okay. Just also some of your answers in part 1 were a little bit short, you know. I asked you, do you usually use your cell phone for calling or messaging? And you said everyone uses KakaoTalk in Korea. So maybe you could explain KakaoTalk as it's a messaging app or a messenger app. And also just try to explain why you prefer messaging. Because it's more convenient. I can send a message anytime. You know, so just try to give a reason with that. Also, I asked you about, do you have any plan to buy a new cell phone? So you said 4 months later, I will buy an iPhone. So instead of 4 months later, it should be in 4 months. In 4 months when we talk about that. And also give a reason, you know. In 4 months, I will buy a new iPhone because my old phone is slow, it's old, the screen is cracked. You know, any sort of reason would help. Just give your answer a bit more length, you know. One question as well about losing something or finding something. What would you do? So let's try and really listen to the question and listen to the key words. So there, the key word was would. What would you do if you found something? In your answer, I heard like I will. So it should be I would, because it's a second conditional sentence. I would give it to the police. Okay, let's move on to the part 2. So we said you spoke for like 1:40. It wasn't too bad. But a lot of the time, I was hearing the present tense. You know, it's quite hard. It's quite meaningful. Just make sure it's all past simple for the question. Yeah. And just to give a little bit of info about part 3 as well. In part 3, I'm hearing, like you said, for me, I like skiing. And you said, my father does a lot of overtime work. But just when you look at the third part, it's always about people in general. Yeah, so like the question is, do you think people in your country have enough leisure time? Is leisure time important to everyone? So in part 3, you shouldn't relate it back to yourself. You should try to speak generally about the people in your country. So when you do the real exam, if you start answering about your personal experience, the examiner will change it back and make sure to talk about general topics. Yeah. Just a couple of things as well about prepositions. Most of people should always be most people. I think that's quite a common mistake. Yeah. So most people in my country. And go to hiking, go to skiing. It should be just go hiking, go skiing. So with ing. So I'll give this to you after, but those are just a few errors that are common and a lot of people make. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming in. All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.